Please welcome our esteemed honoree, Rabbi David Wolpe, and our co-chairs for the evening, Judy and Tom Flesh, and Lita and Abby Simhai.
Rabbi Wolpe, on behalf of the entire Sinai community, we proudly present this award to you for your 20 years of service and leadership.
Thank you for building this beautiful and sacred community for our synagogue. Congratulations.
I, of course, want to begin by thanking the Fleshes and the Simhais, our president, Angela Madahi, all those who worked on this evening at this dinner, and especially the clergy and staff who are really so wonderful and such an indispensable support. As you know, I returned here from sabbatical. I've been visiting countries all over the world. I've visited so far 9 countries, and in a couple of days I will be off to Italy and then to India. In India, where I'm told it will be over 100 degrees every day. And someone asked me, actually just 2 days ago, so how are you going to dress? And I said, I'm going to dress like a Jew. I bought linen pants at Bloomingdale's, because that's what Jews do. But one of the things that I discover as I go around the world is that everywhere you go, there are the remnants of a Jewish community. It is both shocking and painful to see how many places we influenced and touched and shaped, and then one way or another left. And you realize how much more precious it makes those places, like here, where synagogues are still filled with Jews, where there is a future as well as a past, where it isn't just a land of ghosts. As you know, this evening, although in some sense honoring 20 years of being the rabbi, despite the fact that most of that was fake news. I was with Kim Jong-un, but other than that, the truth is that the purpose of this evening is to raise money for a parenting center called the Elaine and Gerald Wolpe Parenting Center. And what this brings to mind is the last time I stood before this congregation to raise money for a center, it was 10 years ago for the Sinai Temple Israel Center. And when I did that, standing right here, my parents sat right there. And now they are gone. And the first thing I want to say about the fact that they are gone is I can't tell you how much it moves me to know that 3 of their granddaughters sit right there. And I know how much it would mean to them. And really tonight, I just want to say a few words about my parents. As I go around the world, they are constantly the voices in my head. I wonder what my father would say about what it is I'm seeing and what my mother would say about what it is I'm wearing. It's true. But I realize that the voices they put in me, that's the voice that emerges from me. That sitting at my parents' dinner table night after night, and especially Shabbat after Shabbat, we heard stories and jokes and memories. We heard the whole history of the Jewish people encapsulated in both of their life histories and the way they met. And it was an entire education at that table. And that they taught us both that they loved us and that we had the capacity to love. And we didn't only have the capacity to love individuals, we had the capacity to love ideas. We had the capacity to love dreams and goals. My first trip to Israel was with my parents. The first time I ever saw my father cry was the first time he visited the Western Wall after the '67 war. And he taught me more with those tears than he could even with his words. I learned from their strengths and I learned from their weaknesses, because love learns from strength and weakness. And when I was told that the synagogue would create a parenting center in their names, I imagined that maybe generations of Jews, through the mediation of the teachers in this place, would hear their voices too. I know that every now and then, when I speak from the bima, I'll hear them talking. And that's because when you are lucky enough to love and learn from someone, they become a part of you and they are never gone. 10 years ago, when we created the Israel Center, I talked about how I wanted to draw people close despite the distance, the geographical distance between Los Angeles and Israel. I wanted people to feel as though we were, in some sense, in the same place, as separate as we were. And that's what I want in a temporal, in a time sense, for the parenting center. Our parents and our great-grandparents and our great-great-great-great-grandparents, they're far away from us, many of them in time. But I want them to speak to us with the same immediacy that I feel each day that my parents speak to me. As I have traveled east and west, I realize that I didn't learn enough from them, that I still wonder, that I still wish that they were here so that I could ask, what do you think of this? And did you ever see that? But after all, it is not a full life that concerns itself with the blessings that it doesn't have. That I learned from them. It is a full life that rejoices in the blessings that it was given. And I tell you that I bring you a great blessing. The blessing of the voices of my parents. deep, sonorous, learned, wise, precise, aware, alive, and present. It is a great and unending privilege to have sat at their table, grown up in their home, to have fought with them, to have loved them, and to remember them. And I knew, as soon as I heard that you wished to honor me, that really, maybe without knowing it, you were honoring them. There is a Mishnah that says that when a parent dies, you should not take their place or sit in their seat, because you have to give the absence its own respect. You have to look at that empty chair and remember what was gone. But then the rabbis tell us, in time you have to take that seat. Because after all, a teaching is nothing unless it lives in the lives of those who come after. So I hope that the people who teach in this parenting center will take my parents' seat, will teach their lessons, will correct some of the things they got wrong, and affirm the many, many, many things they got right. I didn't know how my father would feel when I told him I was going to become a rabbi. Never in his life did he tell me that he wanted me to be a rabbi. And it was at Camp Ramah, after that discussion with Rabbi Dorf, that I called him. And I said, Mom, Dad, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I've decided to go to rabbinical school. And for the second time that I remember in my life, my father cried. Those tears, they're everything to me. They let me know that I did good, that this is where I should be. My parents had the privilege of visiting this congregation many times. They sat there, and my father spoke from this bima. I can't tell you what nachat, what joy you gave them. I can't tell you what nachat, what joy you give me. I go around the world and I have had a fabulous time. But the reason that I've had a fabulous time is because I always know that when I'm done with my travels, I'm coming home. I grew up in a wonderful home, and I have found a wonderful home. Thank you for making my home. I want to close, as Rabbi Artson began, with the blessing that you should say to a crowd of Israelites. Haro'eh ochlosya Yisrael omer baruch chacham harazim. One who sees a crowd of people should say, blessed be God, who knows secrets, who knows hopes, who knows dreams. for all the dreams that we have shared and all the dreams that we will continue to dream together. For all of your parents and grandparents who taught you as mine did me. God bless you, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of Sinai Temple, Angela Madahi.
Thank you, Rabbi Wolpe, for sharing those feelings and those memories